You see, they have great vision in the day. They have even better vision at night. But in the failing light, they can't focus. Magic hour.
Everybody, welcome to Age of Ruin solo play along series. I'm Don Franco 3, and we're just going to go in and start an adventure here. If you've never been here before, we basically just take a character, do a basically a run through a RPG Shadowdark game actually. So don't, before I say Shadowdark, don't run away. It's a D&D 1E 5th edition hybrid, so don't run away. And we basically have been doing these series for a while now where you can create a character and play along, fight monsters, and have a legitimate adventure for your PC. Okay, so this is legit. I'm a legit dungeon master. So this should all is legit is what I'm saying. So whatever happens here is official PC lore and history. Excuse me. So it is the witching hours, you can see, but I've been playing around with some of these titles. This one's called Magic Hour. But before we get too distracted, focused on the sun, I'm going to go ahead and just start getting into it. So first thing we always want to do, and I do this every time, is we want to do a character creation just in case this is the first time you're here. Okay, so what we do is we go to shadowdarklings.net/create. If you're having a hard time seeing some of this, you might want to increase the resolution to your YouTube settings. But if you go to this website, you're able to create a character in no time and really fast. Okay, so today's character, I would recommend no less than 3rd level and no higher than 6th level. So 3, 4, 5, 6 is legit. If you've never played Shadowdark before, you can use any of these scrolls here. These scrolls are basically supplements to Shadowdark and include more classes, as well as, sometimes they have more magic, stuff like that. But for our purposes, for creating a character, we're going to turn these off here. And we're going to go to random. So it says random 1, best fit. And then we're just going to generate a character randomly. In the core Shadowdark, there's only a thief, cleric, known as a priest there, and a wizard, and a fighter. So this really limits our options. So again, if you want to access other ones and just check them out, you can do that. So we're just going to go ahead and hit random character generate here. And you can see, excuse me. Apologies. Sometimes, So you can see here that it generated a thief, gave me high dexterity there, which is what we wanted. And it also distributes the other points. Now, the other thing you can do is as you run down, you can change various things, right? There's these tabs down here that allow you to do that. But if you want to just get going, you can jump all the way to the bottom and just hit PDF, and it'll export you a level 1 character. But in our case, we want to make it level 3, as I mentioned. So we're going to click milestone here. So it says advancement, gain level, milestone. It's about halfway down on the scroll, I think, towards the end, maybe. Hit gain 2, gain 3. Okay, so it says, do I want it to gain to level 4? And of course, it's legit if you do, but I'm going to stop at 3. We're going to roll for hit points, so you basically can level up your character real quick, right? So it's giving me more hit points again for level 3. And I get a roll on a talents list. It wants me to get a +2 to strength, dexterity, or charisma. This is a thief, so then I would want to give him probably better dexterity. This strength here, I'm not sure how this is allowed, but anyway. So 3 strength. So once that's done, it's going to generate a name for you. You can also just put in your own name, whatever you really want. And then you hit PDF export, okay? And you'll see it pulls it out. I just click here. And it does load up on my PDF here, but I'm going to get rid of this. Let me see, close all tabs. And I'm going to do it based on the browser, also because it really blows up really nicely here. So hopefully you can see this. You should be able to see this. It generates a character for you. Here's all your ability scores or stats, hit points, armor class, weapons, level, everything you need. And on the side here, other various things you have, special abilities that you might have as a thief, which is backstab, stab bonus, whatnot, all your different equipment. So it generates a really nice character for you. If you're unhappy with this one, you can always go back. Okay, and you can generate these pretty fast. Okay, so every time I hit generate random character, it gives me a brand new character, right? So here's a Wizard's Apprentice, you can see down here. But do we really, you know, what do we have here? This is a, why am I, there it is, right here it says Goblin Fighter, right? So we generated a fighter. And typically fighters is what I use for the game. It's sort of tailored towards that, but you can definitely use a thief, magic user, priest. And in fact, there are instances where we do have to use a priest or a thief or something like that. So you can basically keep hitting this until you're happy with the combination of stats you want. Like, we used to do this back in the day, so I'm assuming it's legit, but you can just keep hitting this until you get the stats you want. Here's a 17 strength, right? So this is a really good roll. And then again, you just kind of level up your character. So we're going to hit milestone twice, roll for hit points, and get one of those talents. And we're strength based. Do we want to break strength 17? I'm going to say yes. So 19 strength, awesome. We have all this here. And then again, I just hit export PDF. It generates it. Whatever. But we're going to pull it from here. And then this guy's name is Ralthel. Okay, so again, very quick. If you like these characters that I generated here, you can just screenshot them and play on your phone. I've done that before. You do have to have one of these available to you. There you go. Always carry one of these, believe it or not. Or at least have one accessible really easily, and it's in my car, it's on my desk at work, whatever. So now you have the same thing, all your stats, armor class, HP, shitty armor class, just a bastard sword. But look at this, +6 to hit. This is pretty awesome. Level 3 character, +6 to hit. So I think that's pretty awesome. And this guy just really has nothing. So you got all this strength, but you got nothing else. But don't worry, I am going to allow us to equip ourselves if we want during the game. So Ralthel, you know what, and just for fun, we're going to do one more. And by the way, if you want, you can go through this and just generate it from the get-go. You can go through every single step. So if you have the time, you want to have a little bit of fun right now, you can go ahead and just jump on this website and actually just go through the entire character creation, choosing your race, choosing your class, choosing, you know, weapon masteries, grits, all this stuff. You can just start adding it, okay? But let's just hit random generator one. We want, let's say we do one of each, okay? Here's Error, Elf Priest. Should have good wisdom, not too good constitution, but look, we're gonna milestone him again. Boom. Oh, my bad, here we go. We're gonna roll stats, and I'm doing this basically in case you don't have the time. We're gonna do Holy Weapon, roll some hit points, and let's do Smite. Okay, so I chose a couple of spells. If you don't know what these spells are, you can stop in the middle of this and look them up really quick. They're online, they're available. And again, I'm just gonna hit export PDF. Keep pulling up my PDF thing here, but I guess, you know, it's fine. You get similar. It's just a little more laggy, I think, is why I don't like doing it, but there. You basically have your character again here. And again, if you're having issues reading the small print, it's your resolution of your YouTube channel. You should be able to increase that by going to the settings. And again, this one has all his spells, and then it actually gives you a very small breakdown of how your spells work on the very next page. Okay, so this is page 1. It'll generate 2 pages for you if you're a magic user. Shows your weapons. And so here you go. Here's all your magical spells. Now this is a little disturbing. I've never noticed this before. It did Holy Weapon twice. And actually, I've never heard of a spell being twice I don't know if that's off the rules though. Anyways, interesting. I wonder if you can just pick the same spell twice to make sure that you have the spell. So in Shadowdark, when you cast a spell and it doesn't work, you can no longer cast a spell, but you can always cast a spell as long as you successfully continue to cast it. So we're going to be using Shadowdark rules. You can use this with any BX character you have, old school D&D, first edition, same rules. If you do the exact same rules, it functions just about the same. Obviously a little different, but it's pretty much the same. But I've never known, I don't know, this is interesting. Anyway, so then let's go in back. And we're going to generate, we done a thief, we did a fighter. Now let's generate a priest real quick. Generate, wait, that was a priest. We're going to do a wizard with that. So here's wizard already right away. Should have high intelligence. Wow. We don't like this guy. There you go. Our box. Much better. 16 intelligence. Get some bonuses there. Let's level them up really quick. So you can at least have a decent character. We're going to go for hit points. Pick a spell. Let's do mage armor. And we're going to class talent. We gained. We want intelligence. This is almost like exactly the same. So +1, we're supposed to wizard casting. Let's go with the 18. I'll actually go with the 20. Oh my god, that's beautiful. Pick our spell. Mirror image is awesome. It protects you basically from being damaged. And then we're just gonna hit export. Right, so if you have some level of Dungeons and Dragons knowledge, this is much easier to play because this is basically first edition and 5th edition combined. Again, it plays just fine. You cast a spell. If you fail, you can no longer cast a spell. And as long as you cast the spell successfully, you can continuously cast the spell. So again, it has everything you need here. And if you go to the very, so I'm pausing it so you can screenshot it if you need. If you go to the very next page, all your spells. And again, it throws mage armor twice. And I think that's because I chose it, but this is awesome if you can actually have 2 of the same spell. I need to go back, but look at the Shadowdark rules. I actually never seen this do this before. But it's actually pretty brilliant. If there's like a go-to spell that you want for Shadowdark, you can have it twice on your list and just have it available more often. So, okay, so here's your wizard spell. And that's it. Now, the other thing I want to show you guys is how to roll some dice. So if you don't have the D20 in front of you or any dice in front of you and you're playing on your phone or want to play on your phone, I'm going to go to this website called Die Hard Dice real quick. There it is, Virtual Roller. And this has a virtual die roller. Right, so just through a 20, you can grab this 20, you throw it in, you can roll it around like this or throw it in the mimic. Shoots it for you, gets you rolls. Yeah, if you see this dice symbol on the right, the 20-sided dice, it actually gives you the options to add more dice. So if you have advantage for some reason, it didn't shuffle this 15 very well. Anyway, so you throw it in there, shoots it out for you. Advantage, so you have a 15, or disadvantage, you'd have a 9. Then there's a sweeping tab here or button, and then now you can do 3d6 damage. 2d6, 3d6. Grab them again. Toss it. Crappy roll, but you do some damage, right? And sweep it, start all over. So this is your virtual die roller. It's at dieharddice.com. If you just put that in your browser and put virtual roller, you'll be able to find this there. I'm not sponsored by anyone, so this is just a great tool, I think, that you can use to play the game anytime, anywhere, in case you ever forget your dice. So that's the other thing we need. You know, sometimes I go through the BX character creation, but I think if you're playing BX or Beck Me, which are basically almost identical, then that's fine. You should know how to play your character. We're still going to use spellcasting based on Shadowdark rules, but you should be able to do it. So normally I go to this fast character creator and then allow us to create a character there. But I think we've been doing this for quite some time now. It's Shadowdark. I don't think I need to show you the fast character creator. I can show you, well, you can go there, you can create a BX character, which works for BECME, which these are all old school Dungeons and Dragons games. And it also has a 2014, 2024. And actually, if you go to my one of more recent videos where I show how to create all virtual online one-shot, I think I recorded like a week or two ago, you'll find the character creation there for 2014 or 2015, 2024. So, okay, I think we're ready to go in terms of, we should have a character generated. But you notice that our character had, at least one of the fighter had no armor. So I'm going to give you gold based on your level, and then we're going to allow you to get some equipment. So if you're level 3, I'm going to give you gold equal to your XP. Okay, so if you're level 3, you get 30, and if you're level 6, you get 60. And we're going to allow you to go in and get equipment. But before we do that, let's go over some very quick things very quickly. Let me zoom in a little bit so in case the resolution's not so high. So before we start, we're going to ignore this top part because that has to do with the BECME characters. So level up your PC to whatever level you want. If I don't specify, because this is live and sometimes, you forget things, usually I do DC 10 because I want ability scores to matter, those bonuses to matter. So usually if I don't say anything, it's a DC 10. If the image is blurry anywhere at any time, check your resolution on your YouTube channel. And this is live. If you notice, most live videos are a little slower, but you can go to your settings again and increase the speed to 1.25. And that usually gives you the speed that most people want, because most people rewrite their entire episodes and read off a piece of paper, and it's very fluid, right? But if you're going live, unless you got the gift of gab, which I've seen, you're going to go a little slower. So here you're looking at the stats for Shadowdark. This is usually a conversion for people who are playing BX or BECME. I want you to use these stats instead. We're also going to use the 2-point action system. That's this here. So basically, this solves the math problem for combat for a lot of D&D or other games where you can move, you can move and attack, or you attack on your turn, right? So there's no attack. And that's a little ridiculous. It's all energy, it's all momentum. So in the 2-point action system, it allows you to attack if you need to, right? So your primary, everything costs 1 point listed here. Your primary moves are usually move, melee, which is just basically attack with the weapon, a ranged weapon. I should put just attack. Spellcast, and if you do an attack or a spellcast, your second maneuver, the second point you're going to spend during your turn, is going to be called the second move or the second attack or second spellcast, and those will have a little bit of penalties if you use the attack or spellcast. So the second move is going to let you move up to your speed, so there's no penalty there. If you do attack, you do take a -3 penalty, which is equal to a DC in Shadowdark. And the reason we do that is because it's all roleplay. That's what we believe in RPG runes. So if you swing the first time and you miss, and you swing the second time, the opponent is more alert to your attack, so it gives you a -3 penalty to hit them because they are moving. Sometimes we use minis, and these characters are not stationary. They're bobbing and weaving, trying to fight with you, right? If you do spellcast, I do not penalize for using that because it's a risk when you cast a spell in Shadowdark, right? If you fail, you lose the spell. But I do tell you that the second spell, if you use a second spellcast, it has to be a tier 1, has to target one opponent, and it can have an incapacitating effect. Okay, so a non-incapacitating. And just to kind of show you, I've actually, these are scrolls 1 through 4. I wonder if, I thought I've added 5 and 6 too, but these are all the spells that currently exist that are tier 1, single targeting, and non-incapacitating that you could potentially cast as a second spell cast, right? So there's not that many, but nicely you have Magic Missile here. You can cure somebody for a second spell. and so forth. So the wizard and the witch appear to have the most access to second spell attacks, but that's how it is, right? And so the other thing about the set 2-point action system is that you're also allowed to do a reaction. There's either parry block, which is a -2, and if you're dexterity, if you are proficient in the weapon that you're using to block, so you can, if you're a wizard and you're blocking, you can pick up a piece of wood, something nearby to block, and that gives you a -2 to the attacker to protect you. It could be a matter of life and death, maybe. If you're a warrior of some kind, you're proficient, and you want to use your weapon to block, you can use your weapon to block for some reason. You add your dexterity modifier, so it really helps making your dexterity modifier matter. The other reaction you can do is called dive. Now, this is just meant to keep you alive, so nobody just dives. If you're going to die, if you think you're close to dying, or maybe you're playing a scared character, you can dive, and that's going to give you a -5 penalty to the attacker's roll. You do fall prone, and it takes you an entire action point to stand up, back up from prone, okay? So this is really last resort. It's kind of like in the movies where you see them diving and dodging, just trying to survive. And that's what this dive reaction is for. And again, you get 2 points when you start the combat, you get 2 points. And at the end of your turn, those 2 points regenerate, right? So once your turn's over, you have 2 points again. Your turn's over, so you can't use them, but you see what I'm saying? And then if you need to, you can use a reaction before it's your turn again. Now, if you can reaction twice, so parry, dive, there has to be at least 5 space available for you to get to. You could jump to another space as a dive. I've created a formula. Shadowdark doesn't have one, but it's 1 plus strength mod minimum 1 times 2 if you use a full move to jump. So in either case, if you're diving, you just need to have line of sight. So if you're on the floor and you want to dive again, it's literally like in the movies. You're just jumping, so you have enough momentum in your legs to kind of kick your body forward and jump into the next space so you can avoid being attacked. Okay, so that covers a 2-point action system. 2 points. It does make Shadowdark combat a little easier for the PCs, but Shadowdark's super deadly, and you can't use it for monsters. I have a couple of videos about this. If the monster already has 2 attacks, then you don't even need to use the 2-point combat action system. It already has a move and 2 attacks. But if it only has 1 attack, you can use the 2-point action system on them. And there's very few monsters that can use a 2-point action system. Now, the 2-point action system I've mentioned is compatible with all these different. I created it mostly for Shadowdark and D&D 1E, 2E, BX, Beckney, so it's usable with all of these if you don't want to use the procedures in those. So Essentials, OSR-like, these are essentially the same as BX and Beckney. Castle and Crusades is a little more pushing towards a more super heroic, and so is Sagaborn, because you get a lot more spells, a lot more things, but there's still somewhat OSR. And if you're playing a system and you're using a cantrip, that's considered a tier 1 spell for your second spell cast. Otherwise, if it costs 0/1 mana like in Sagaborn, that's your tier 1 spell equal to. If there's no cantrips and it's a level 1, rank 1, circle 1 spell, that it's a second spell cast for that tier 1. So let's do a couple of things, and this should not take much longer. Before we start, and of course, always timestamp my videos so you can always go back and if you already have a character ready, you can easily start playing. So I gave you gold based on your level, remember. So if you're the fighter who got no armor, you should be able to have enough gold to at least give yourself a leather armor, right? So very quickly, here it is. If you are 3rd level, you get 30 gold, 6th level, 60 gold, and so forth. So we're working from 3, 4, 5, and 6 characters. Get your gold over here, and you can have any of these weapons, and for that gold that you have, right? So you can give yourself some armor if you don't have none. And at any time, you can pause your YouTube video, look at these to see, here's all the properties of all the weapons. But you can get, these are weapons basically all from the curse scrolls as well. I put it all together here. And also these other things, jars and all whatnot, these are less important for the Age of Long. This is totally action-packed battling. And the final thing I want to do is I want to give you a magical item. Okay, so if you are a fighter, you can roll random if you want, but it doesn't really make sense if you're a wizard and you roll armor, right? So I would say pick whatever category you want to get from. So do you want a weapon, wand, probably don't want utility, could be important, scroll, potion. It'd be easiest if you used to pick the weapon and some armor, potion maybe. And once you pick this, you can roll on the armor type that it was. This should be random, the bonuses that you get for it, and then the number of benefits that magical item also has. All right, so you just roll the 2d6. Not only can you have a bonus, but you can also add some other type of benefit. Here's a list for armor benefits, list for potion benefits. Okay. If you're using a scroll, it lets you pick what kind of spell it is, what tier, right? So you can roll for that. And if you get a weapon, you can also roll a weapon benefit here. You can add to your weapon, so it's really nice. Some really good effects for those weapons. And I think that is it. So make sure you collect your magical item. Make sure you armor yourself up if you're going to use my character that I created and you're missing armor, which was interesting that you gave us no armor. And with that, I think we're pretty close to pretty much being ready to go. So you should have a character, should be leveled up, you should have magical items, and we should be able to play. So let's go ahead and get ready to play. All right, 1 second.
It has been several hundred years since the collapse of the Astoria Golden Age. A collapse caused by power and magic. The great houses have fallen. Magic knowledge has been all but lost. Major cities have been abandoned and overrun by plant life and monsters. All that is left are barricaded small secluded hamlets, villages, and scarce towns. You are in the age of ruin. It is also the age of exploration. The few who dare leave their protected walls seek fortune, a better life, and power. Be part of the few, the bold who seek to rebuild, face the dangers, and discover of unearthed arcana. Your journey begins now.
All right, welcome back. So it's been 700 years since the collapse of civilization. We started at World's End. If you've been with us since the beginning, we started at World's End. There's a downloadable PDF at RPG, Don Franco 3 Games, RPG Boons tab. You can see it's listed right below my little image over here on the left. On the right side of your screen, you should see it says Don Franco 3 Games. You go to the RPG Boons tab. There's a PDF for the World's End Hamlet. We've had some adventures there. If you have survived this long, you went to St. Abby's because there was a mad wizard or a person who had gone mad, was casting magic. It wasn't quite necromancy. But it was definitely bringing back some undead, animating various types of things. And so we went to St. Abby's, which is a major trade partner with World's End. They get a lot of farming goods from St. Abby's. World's End does. And so we arrived there, we went through the town, and we found the Mad Mage and killed him. So when my experience with when I played with it, my character, actually all my henchmen died. I'll explain how henchmen work once we start getting going. I survived barely. I believe I had 5 or 6, 7 hit points range, but I was able to kill the Mad Mage. All right, so we killed the Mad Mage. So if you survived that adventure, then you went back to town and all the people started coming back to St. Abby's, repopulating it, continuing their farming. And Or if you are first arriving to St. Abbie's, depending, is this your first time here? You come to town. Right now, you're currently hanging underneath this tree in the shade. It's been 21 days since the Mad Mage was destroyed. And you come here and you've gotten to know the town a little bit more. So it was a 2-day travel from World's End, so it took you at least 5 days or so to come back. Or you just arrived to town. And so you've been in St. Abbie's, you've seen the agriculture, the farm. You've been around. They have a nice little market in the center of town. This is the inn. People go there and stay. This is the market. You can come here, get fresh goods, do some small trading. And you've been hanging out at St. Abbie's. These are the folk there. There's a lot of farmers, various folks. There's a fair amount of warriors and soldiers around. This is, again, towards the edge of civilization. So people are typically fighters of some kind. They're skilled. Nobody is that harmless or useless. They're, even farmers know how to pick up a weapon and use it. So every man, every woman, every child has some form of training. And you happen to be in St. Abbie's. It's been 21 days later. You're rocking the market. You're checking things out. Saying hello to people, greeting them if you know them. And as you're approaching this area here, you notice a little girl is staring out into the wheat field. And as you approach her, it's odd. She's not moving. She's just staring out into the wheat field. You're not sure what to make of it. And so you approach her and she says, by the way, if this takes longer than the 20, 30, 40-minute gameplay, we are going to have a part 2 to this. Just be aware. So you approach the young girl and she's just staring. And you say, "Are you okay, young miss?" And she looks at you and goes, "I'm just saying hello to my little friend, my friend over there." And you look up. You're like, "What friend?" And she goes, "Mr. Scarecrow." So you take a look up. You see there's a scarecrow there. It's just, hanging there. It's not really doing much. It's doing what a scarecrow does. And you're like, okay, you look back down at her. And as you're looking back down at her, you look back up to the field and you notice that the scarecrow is gone. So what the happened to the scarecrow? You look back at her and you go, "Hey, what?" And then as you look back up, the scarecrow's there again. Okay. Now, this is interesting. You take a look from the fence and you're trying to figure out what the is going on. But it doesn't appear like anything's going on. It's just a scarecrow. So you decide, and as you're having these thoughts, this girl just kind of laughs and goes, she takes off and runs away from you. Right, so she's done. But you're a little curious. Why is this scarecrow there and not there? And in fact, as you're looking at it, it almost appears to move a little bit more. I mean, it's windy, but it's moving a little more than it's supposed to. So you get a little curious. This is a little unusual. If you are a warrior, you drop your you get ready, basically. If you're a wizard, you're getting a little nervous. This is the Age of Ruin. Weird things are not just coincidences. These things usually mean some type of nefarious situation. So as you go over to this and you bend down just to get through these, and you look back up and the scarecrow's gone. Okay. You're feeling a little eerie. So we're going to make a quick chance roll, right? So we want this to be sort of random. I mean, you could decide whether or not you want to go check it out. The scarecrow is missing. This is eerie. What do? Let's say 1 through 3, you proceed. 5 through 6, you go back to try to grab some people and explain what's going on. Okay? So I'm throwing this here, but we're gonna shuffle it first. And whatever happens, happens. All right, 1 through 3. So you don't like what's happening here. Okay? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go back and you're gonna go to the market and talk to people and say, hey, this is what's happening. Little girl, where's this little girl? And, she explains that, oh, this guy, he's my friend. He waves to me from time to time. And you're like, look, guys, I was over there and the scarecrow was not there. Then it was there. Then it was gone. And because of what has happened here in the past, you do draw the attention of 6 men, and they all come with you. Okay, so they all come with you. And as you approach the farm again, you see the scarecrow's there again. Okay. And you're like, I swear this scarecrow keeps moving. And the 6 guys that are there, they're like, I don't know if I buy it. So I need you to make a charisma check or a persuasion check, if you will. Convincing check, whatever, because I know Shadowdark has a weird list of skills. And I want you to try to convince these 6 men to come with you. Okay? Like, you want them to hop the fence with you and investigate. So DC 10, charisma. On a success, you can roll a D4. You'll get 2 men who come with you regardless. But on a success, DC 10, you get to roll a 1D4. Okay, so you can virtually roll. If you really do not have dice, you gotta take the average, which is about 2. But go ahead and do charisma check. Now, whatever amount of men come to you, we're gonna use our henchman rules, which I'll get to as soon as we get over there. So as soon as whatever happened, you either have 2 men with you or you have up to 6 men with you. Okay. And this time you all go through, and as you're going through the forest and you're approaching, so some of the men are with you, you look up and you seriously see this thing jump off of its pole and land into the hay there. Okay, so half of you saw it, and you saw it. You're like, what the? Scarecrow jumped off. It's in the wheat. So maybe it's in here somewhere. All right. So what you get your men, you start walking through. Now I want you to make a perception check. This one's going to be harder because depending on what you roll, something's going to happen. So make a wisdom check, perception check, DC 15. If you succeed, then you catch this scarecrow coming in, running towards you. If you fail, this scarecrow gets attacks on you. So first things first. These are your henchmen. Remember, we're using the 2-point action system. This is not important right now. These are not important right now. We are using the 2-point combat action system. I'm not really sure why this moved over so much. Okay, so there's a scarecrow and it starts coming at you. Okay. Holy heck, no. Apologies, it's right here. I just needed to grab this stat block. Scarecrow comes at you, begins to basically attack you. So if you got a if you succeeded on your DC perception check, you can attack the Scarecrow first. Okay, here's the armor class, here's the hit points. If you failed, it takes 2 claw attacks plus 2 to the roll. Okay, I'll go ahead and roll that actually, just in case. Let's sweep. I'm gonna throw 2 d20s, but these don't count. I'm gonna throw them in the box. Whatever your armor class is. One is a 16, so 116, and 18, and a 6. Probably 1 strikes for sure. All right, 1d6 damage. Attacks you. You have X amount of henchmen with you. They do flat rolls, okay? And if they hit the armor class of 12 or higher, they do 3 points of damage to the Scarecrow. If they fail, they die, okay? Now, right here, it's up to you. Do you want to use all your henchmen at once? But keep in mind, any fail that you have, they die. So maybe you only want to attack with 1 henchman or 2 henchmen. They only get 1 attack. You can take 2 attacks, okay? But the Scarecrow is in here. You guys are battling in this wheat field here. Okay, so you can pause the video, finish out that combat. If you roll less than a 5 on your d20, the Scarecrow screams. Okay, so go ahead and play that out. 2-point combat action system. Now with armor class of 12, 15 hit points, you should be able to wipe this guy out pretty fast. And as you take down, and whoever does the final strike on that Scarecrow, the body just collapses into a bunch of hay, completely is unanimated anymore, as if, yeah, it was just a regular Scarecrow. Okay, so it collapses. What the? Nice. Oh, I see. I think, yep. So it collapses on the floor here. Okay, and this Scarecrow is gone. Alright, so you're there with your henchmen. These are going to be considered your bonus henchmen. Alright, so keep track of whatever henchmen you got. And as you're sitting there and you destroy, you're all picking at it. You hear a man come out. We'll just make it this man here. Actually, let's make it this guy. He runs out from his home, like he saw some of the stuff that was going on. He's like, "What the hell are you people doing with my Scarecrow, you sons of bitches?" And what are you doing? He walks into the wheat field with you. Grabs his Scarecrow, says, "What the hell's your problem, you sons of bitches?" And he begins to, as he's trying to put the Scarecrow back up, you are trying to explain what happened. Now, normally, people would not even believe you. But because this is St. Abby's, and weird stuff has happened here before, this man says, "Oh my God, maybe it's happening again. It's happening again." And you're like, what happened again? So here's, like, if you've played before, you understand that there was a wizard of some kind. New magic had been found in St. Abby's, and this wizard appeared to animate the dead. And in fact, bring back some statues. Bring some statues to life. And so this is no joke, okay? He goes, "You must alert the people. We must tell them what's going on. This is how it starts." So you head back into the town with your henchmen, and you begin to tell them, "Hey, this is what's happening. These are the signs. I know some of you have seen this before, but something is happening." And as you're saying that, and you're talking to the town folk, a mist begins to slowly creep in from the south. And as you're discussing and the people are gathering together and you're getting some volunteers to maybe come with you to investigate. They're like, yes, it all started from the south near the cemetery. And in fact, that's where the wizard was originally and was disposed of the first time around. So as you get all this information, you're standing there. Something, I said, a small mist starts coming in. It's, 1 inch off the floor. Now it's 2 inch, 4 inch, keeps getting thicker. And, goodness. Thicker. Spoiler alert. Begins to come in. Goodness. All right, so it begins. You're talking. A mist continues to enter the town. So you're standing there. You're trying to gather men, and in fact, you are gathering soldiers. They're all interested in protecting this town. You're standing there with the other soldiers, but this mist is coming in. It's getting thicker and thicker, making it more difficult for everyone to see. Before you know it, visibility becomes very poor. And so at that moment, town folks are talking. I need you to, okay, so depending on what level you are, then this will determine how many henchmen you have, okay? And this is just bonus henchmen. Okay, so if you're level 3, you actually have, it's 10 minus your level. So if you're level 3, you have 7 henchmen, plus whatever bonus henchmen you got previously and survived. I know, sounds like a lot, but trust me, you need all the henchmen you can get. And then with that squad of henchmen, you go back to that cemetery because that's where the drama happened the first time. And clearly, it's happening again. So you grab your men, you start heading to the cemetery. Apologies here. I'm not really sure. This is the in vivo, the live play. This is what happens. And my computer's lagging a little bit, so I really apologize. It shouldn't be doing this. Okay, so you grab your henchmen and you begin to head towards the cemetery. The good news is that if you're playing at 1.25 speed, as I recommended, this should not be so laggy. Or at least the time should be going by a lot faster. This is what I'm looking for. It's just very slow. So you grab your men and you begin to head towards the cemetery. Oh, this is really bad. Apologies, everyone. This should not be taking this long, but this computer is really laggy. I'm gonna try to turn off the die roller. Sometimes that does it. Okay. So you grab your henchman. Here's your man. Oh my goodness, I really apologize. This thing should not be doing this. So you grab your henchman and you start heading towards the cemetery. And as you're moving down, it's really difficult to see. Visibility is extremely poor. And you continue to move forward with your men. And as you're approaching the cemetery, you do begin to hear a screeching sound. Some wings flapping. Winds flapping. And this is you. This is the visibility. It's really poor. You're heading down the trail. You know that cemeteries to the south. There is an old home that is there. But you start approaching. Yes, there's a creepy tree. And you begin to basically head into the cemetery. You arrive, you get through the fence, and you're with your henchmen. It's a squad. You are rolling deep with the henchmen. Okay. And as you're standing here, from nowhere, you hear flapping wings. Apologies, this is really... It's a little embarrassing. I need to find a better... You find something scoops down and begins to attack your men. So I want you to make a DC 10 perception check. And if you fail, this monster comes in and takes 3 lashes at you. Okay. Okay. If you succeed, I will allow you to take an attack at it as it's sweeping by. Okay, so success, you attack. Go ahead and do your 2 attacks on it. In the class of 13, 28 hit points. And in this first round, you are not able to use henchmen. Okay. So go ahead and do that. And once you do that, it disappears. And it also comes down again. A few seconds later, swoops down to attack you guys. So keep rolling. In fact, you can make either a perception check or a dexterity check, whichever you want to use, to see it before it comes in to hit you. And if you do, you're able to get 2 attacks off of it. Okay, these are going to be DC 10. And you can now start using your henchmen. Now, remember, you can use as many henchmen as you want, but as soon as they miss, they die, right? And they do 3 points of damage. Okay. So keep doing that. There's your counter-strike rolls for your henchmen. You can play that out. 28 hit points. I know it's going to be annoying, but every round, because it's going in and out, if you have some type of grappling skill, you can try to hold it in place. I'll allow that. Strength check versus strength check, it has a +2. Otherwise, it's sweeping down, and only if you're able to attack it, you can try to grapple it. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Play that out. 2-point action system. You can attack twice. Second attack has a -3 penalty. Second spell cast has to be single targeting, non-incapacitating. I showed you the list. You can heal yourself if you're a priest. It's pretty much the only priest spell you can do. The wizard has a little more options. And the witch, if you chose to use those curse scrolls. So it's attacking, Okay. We're not going to use any of these phantom illusion duplicates and stuff, although this would have been an amazing effect. All right. Let's assume You killed it. Okay. And you have X amount of henchmen left with you. You begin to look around the graveyard. Try to figure out what to do. Okay. Have you lost any henchmen? How many men have died under your team? That's my question to you. Okay. Because as you're approaching here, you notice coming from this tome here, there's appears to be a lot of moaning coming from this area here. And if you have lost some men, I want you to, they're starting to get eerie. They're starting to worry. Okay, so you might have had 2, 3. If you're level 3, you've probably had about 10 henchmen. If you've lost more than half of those by some miracle, I don't even know if that's possible, but if you lost half of those, so if you only have, let's say, 6 henchmen or less, you need to make a motivational speech to keep them from leaving. Okay, it's a DC 10. If you succeed, then the henchmen stay. Okay. In addition, I want you to look at them and say, look, I want you to speak to one man and say, hey, I need you to go to the town and I need you to tell people we don't know what we're dealing with down here. Clearly something's happening here. The noise is coming from this crypt. I think something's happening. I want you to go back to town. I want you to say these words to them and see how many more men can come down here and support us. Okay. So you need to do another motivational speech for that one man. You need to say the proper words. Now, you don't need to actually come up with it, but you need to say something. And then this man will go ahead and do your roll for DC 10. If you succeed, you're going to get D4 of 1 plus charisma modifier. Okay? With a minimum of 1. So even if you have a -1 for your charisma, that'll just go to your roll, but you'll get at least a 1d4 extra henchman. If you're very charismatic, then you're going to add that many bonuses of dice. So you're going to get 1 plus, let's say you have a +3 charisma modifier, you're going to get 4d4 extra henchmen. Yeah, an army. You're going to convince that many people to come back down here and support you. So you'll have whatever henchmen you previously had. Maybe you have all of them, but you're going to have a little bit of an army and a squad with you. Because as you're going in here and you're trying to figure out where the noises come, you do find a stone door here. You do require at least 5 men to help you pull it off. You do not have the strength alone. And so you yank the stone off and you begin to head down a very super steep staircase. Okay. And with that, you are going to have a part 2. Because as I'm here, sitting here talking to you guys, it has been about an hour. We've had at least a solid 30 minutes of gameplay here at St. Abby's 21 Days Later, part 1. You begin to go down a shaft. Very steep. Very steep. You have your henchmen. You're going down the shaft through the cemetery. Very steep stairs. And it's 1 man at a time. Okay, only 1 person can fit down this hole. Each of these squares here are 10 feet. And you get to the bottom. And we're going to have to stop right there. This is RPG Boons. This is St. Abby's 21 Days Later, part 1. Come back next week. I should be able to have another one. I'll probably do a very quick character generation in case you hero happens to be the first time you're showing up. You'll be one of the heroes who got convinced to come down to this shaft. Okay? You're always the star in this game. So, with that being said, on Don Franco 3, this is Age of Ruin. 700 years after the collapse of civilization, the world is dangerous. You made it to St. Abby's from World's End. Now, with the new magic that appears to be blooming from this area, you are heading down to investigate in the catacombs of the cemetery to see what is going on, and hopefully put to rest the evil, the madness that exists here. And remember, there was a mad mage here, and you did kill him, and his body did get buried and destroyed. You lost a lot of men. Unless you weren't there, this is what happened. And now you're here. I'm Don Franco 3. This is RPG Boons. I hope you enjoyed that. Please come back for part 2 starting next week. Early next week. See ya.